Let's say your child pushes away their dinner and says, I'm full. And then you mention dessert, and all of a sudden they have room again. If you've ever experienced this, you've probably wondered, were they really full or were they just trying to skip the healthy dinner you made? The answer is actually more interesting than you might think because the behavior isn't about your child being manipulative or trying to skip over healthy foods. It's usually about how our brain responds to different foods. One of the biggest misconceptions parents have is that fullness completely turns off appetite. It doesn't. In fact, our appetite is influenced by much more than an empty stomach. Taste, smell, emotions, excitement, expectations, all of these are going to play a role. Scientists often refer to this as sensory specific appetite. Think about Thanksgiving dinner, for example. You finish a large meal and you couldn't imagine eating another bite, but then someone brings out pie and suddenly you find room. Not because your stomach magically emptied, but because dessert is a completely different experience. Adults do it, kids do it too. Another reason this happens is because dessert often has been placed on a pedestal. Think about the messaging kids often hear. If you finish your dinner, you can have dessert, or eat your vegetables first, or if you're good, you can have ice cream. Without realizing it, we've taught kids that dessert is the prize. Dinner becomes the obstacle, dessert becomes the goal. So even when they're physically full, they're still mentally interested in the reward. That's not because they lack willpower, it's because we've increased the value of one food while decreasing the value of another. And that doesn't mean dessert's bad. It doesn't mean families should never enjoy having sweets. The goal isn't eliminating dessert. The goal is removing the power struggle around it. Another thing parents often overlook is portion sizes. Sometimes kids truly are full. Adults frequently serve portions based on what they think kids should eat rather than what they actually need. Kids are naturally better at recognizing fullness than adults are. So the challenge is helping them stay connected to those cues. One strategy I usually recommend to avoid is you need to clean your plate. Instead, try to encourage children to check in with their bodies. Ask, does your belly feel comfortably full? Helping kids build that awareness is much more valuable than encouraging them to eat beyond fullness. So, what should parents do when dessert comes up? Every family is going to be different here, but one thing is avoid making dessert feel like the ultimate reward. The more exclusive dessert becomes, the more exciting it usually feels. Instead, think about creating a balanced relationship with all the foods. Sometimes dessert is part of the meal, sometimes it's enjoyed after dinner, sometimes there isn't dessert at all. The goal is flexibility, not perfection here. Because healthy eating isn't about teaching children to avoid sweets forever, it's about helping them enjoy all foods without putting one food on a pedestal. If your kid always seems to have room for dessert, don't assume they're lying about being full. They're responding to how appetite actually works sometimes. Understanding that difference helps parents respond with curiosity instead of frustration. And when we reduce the power struggle around food, kids have much more opportunity to build healthy habits that last. At Niroggi, we help families understand the why behind behaviors so they can build healthier relationships with food, movement, health, not through restriction or guilt, but through education and sustainable habits. If your family could use support, Niroggi offers a free trial so you can experience our approach before committing. Check it out at niroggi.com. And in the meantime, I'd love to know, has your kid ever been too full for dinner, but somehow they have room for dessert?